Bienvenidos a conversaciones en de lo cotidiano y lo no tanto. En el pasado hemos tenido oportunidad de platicar con grandes personajes de la mercadotecnia digital y del mundo de Internet. Hemos platicado con personalidades como Mitch Joel, Chris Brogan y Joseph Jaffe. Pero lo cierto es que no hubiéramos podido platicar con ninguno de ellos de no ser por el impactante trabajo en la sociedad que la personalidad con la que estuvimos en los últimos 2 días ha hecho. Estoy hablándoles de quien es conocido como el padre de Internet o el coinventor de Internet, Vint Cerf, quien en los últimos 2 días estuvo en México compartiendo su conocimiento y su experiencia con diferentes medios, empresas en la iniciativa privada y también con organizaciones gubernamentales. Pero lo mejor de todo el viaje, la visita de Vint, fue la reunión que anoche tuvimos ya en un ambiente mucho más cálido, mucho más acogedor entre amigos en las oficinas de Google México, donde tuvimos oportunidad de hacerle preguntas a Vint mucho más allá de las clásicas preguntas que le hacen los medios sobre su impacto en la sociedad o su visión a futuro. Nosotros pudimos platicar con Vint sobre sus gustos personales. Nos estuvo platicando sobre su vino favorito o sus vinos favoritos. Nos estuvo platicando también sobre sus autores preferidos y los géneros que más les gusta leer. Y pudimos hacerle un par de preguntas más enfocadas al lado humano de Vint. Preguntarle qué pasa por su mente cada mañana cuando despierta. Y la pregunta que a mí en lo personal más me emocionó en su respuesta fue que todos nosotros sabemos que nuestros hijos van a estudiar a Vint Cerf como parte de la historia universal. Vint de hecho ya está en los libros como uno de los grandes personajes que han impactado la historia del mundo, tanto como Alexander Graham Bell o Thomas Alva Edison. Y entonces le preguntamos, Vint, nuestros hijos te van a estudiar, pero ¿qué quieres tú que nosotros como padres le digamos a nuestros hijos sobre quién fue Vint Cerf? Y esto fue lo que nos respondió. Espero que disfruten mucho de esta plática, tanto como yo, y nos vemos pronto de nuevo en una conversación más en Conversaciones en de lo cotidiano y lo no tanto. Nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego.
Say, hey, I'm still alive. Actually, lots of things. It depends, of course, on what I'm doing. But I'm always looking for something to do that hasn't been done yet. And frankly, now that we're approaching the point where the interplanetary work is coming to fruition, I'm starting to think about an interstellar mission, sending a robotic probe to another star. And there are some big problems associated with trying to do that. But it's just fun to think your way through the problems, if nothing else. So one thing is the propulsion system. Right now, the best that we can do would be to get a probe to the nearest star in 60,000 years. That's kind of a long time for an experiment. So if we can find a way to get the probe up to 1/10 the speed of light, considering acceleration and deceleration, it might take about 100 years if we can get up to that speed. And you might be able to do that with an ion engine or something. So I'd like to think about that. A 100-year experiment is actually doable. When you think about a lot of space experiments, sometimes they take 15, 20, 30 years. So that's one thing. Then the other problem is, what on earth would you use to signal from 4 light years away that you can detect? Because even a laser beam is going to spread a fair amount over 4.4 light year distance. And I don't know a good answer to that right now. One thing I can say is that we have learned how to spot planets in orbit around distant stars. And we can do it optically, which I found completely amazing. So I guess if we can detect the planet optically from its transit across near the star, there might be some way of using that notion somehow to do some signaling. Now, it's a half-baked idea. Now, the more sexy thing would be to think about quantum entangled particles. Now, we all really, I don't know how many of you have math or physics backgrounds, but an entangled particle pair of entangled particles have this property that if one of them is entangled in the up state, the other one is guaranteed to be in the down state. But until you look, you don't know which is which. So the process of entangling the particles relates their two states to each other in a very, very bound way. Then you can separate these entangled particles and you can move them as far apart as you want. When you look at one of them, finally, to see what state it's in, if it's in the up spin state, for example, then you know immediately that the other one is in the down state. And if anybody looked at it, it would be in the down state. You're guaranteed of that. Now, that does not constitute communication. So we didn't force the state. If we could force the state of a particle to be whatever we want it to be, and knowing that the other one would be the inverse of that, we would be signaling. So just looking at the state, which is whatever it is, does not cause information to transfer. But there are people kicking around, multiple particle ideas, multiple entanglement particles that look like you might be able to literally signal over these defined distances. If that's true, if there really is a way to do it, then using entangled particles for communication would mean instantaneous transfer of data, except for one problem. You have to get the damn particle to where you want it to be before you can start communicating. So I still have how long does it take me to get a bag of entangled particles to Alpha Centauri? It might take 100 years to do that. And then you can communicate instantaneously until you run out of entangled particles. So now you have to figure out how to get a kind of pipeline of entangled particles going in order to use them for instantaneous communication. And that starts to get a little messy. It's not so bad if you're going 4 light years away maybe, but if I'm going 4,000 light years away, okay, this is starting to get hard. So yeah, that's not necessarily the thing I wake up with every morning, but it's the kind of thing that